a huge purse is on the line as we join the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League at the Macon County Fairgrounds. It's essentially the unlimited class in pulling. These guys run every configuration you can possibly imagine. 2 engines, 3 engines, 4 engines. In fact, about the only thing they have in common is that they all come to the Torco truck to get their racing fuel. Hello, everybody. I'm Stephen Cox. We welcome you to Macon, Missouri. It's the next stop on the Lucas Oil Champions Tour. And if you want tons of raw horsepower, you've come to the right place. We will start out with the Super Modifieds. Our expert analyst here in the booth with me is Rick Carlson, and talk a little bit not just about our first competitor here, but about these machines, Rick.
They are a little bit of everything. Multiple engines, supercharged, methanol burning. You'll see 3, you'll see 4, you'll see a turbine-powered machine. Sometimes they're all Hemis. You'll see Chevys. Paired with Hemis, you see a little bit of everything. This is a wild child, Bob Jostock from Lapeer, Michigan. 4 great big power plants. You can see the left front one was smoking. He's losing a motor. He's on the brakes trying to get it straight, and, well, not a real good pull, it doesn't look like.
Working with 75% horsepower. That's not going to get the job done for Bob Jostock. Let's take another look and see how well he starts out, because it looked like he had a good run at the beginning.
He pulls the front end up just a little bit. He's able to keep it straight, not having to get on the rear brakes. The brakes are how you steer when the front end's up in the air, but you can see that engine starting to smoke. You can see liquid coming out from underneath it. He's losing 25% of the horsepower, and it's just not a good pull.
A full pull is 300 feet here in Macon, Missouri. Now, we've seen Jerry Stewart out of Paris, Kentucky many, many times. Here's his son, Michael Stewart, a rookie this year.
And these are Hemis. You can see the spark plugs right in the middle of the valve covers. Pulling up there, the driver inside the cage, buckled in, just like you see in any form of race car. All the safety equipment in place, and here we go. The butterflies, the centerpieces on the injectors on top of the engines are wide open, but he's all over the place, bouncing 231 feet. Not a long pull, but sure exciting. And
we even had the sled going sideways on that one, so Michael really kicked off his rookie year in style. That was an exciting run. Now, what on earth do we have here? Well, you know, I actually had a chance to go down and take a close-up look at this machine, but you can describe it better than me, Rick.
Dirt Challenger, this is Bill Leishner, one of those quiet, shy guys. Well, you'll meet him later on and find out about that. But it's turbines. It's not those automotive style or racing engines. These are the things that power jet helicopters. They come out, and you will hear them. They'll whine. The turbine, the noise, the front end bouncing up in the air, but he's staying straight. Leishner, very, very experienced. A neat-looking machine over to the side, but shuts it down. 238 feet, not the full pull he'd like.
Well, that's got to be a huge disappointment. And look at the front end of this machine. The turbines kick up, the revs come up, and you start seeing that bouncing all over the place, and that is not what you have to have. That's throttle control.
That's it. Once it starts bouncing, you start losing your grip on the rear end. It starts to loosen up, and then it drags back down. You can see all the weight he has on the front to keep the front end down. Now he has to use the brakes over toward the boundary, and well, the turbocharged machine, again, a short run.
Let's take a look at Bill Leishner once again. This time, he is on Dirt Slinger, so he's had an opportunity with the turbines. Now he goes back to the V8.
This is where he has the experience. The Aries Hemis right there in front of Leishner in the Dirt Slinger. Now this time, he'll get into the throttles a little bit. If we get a shot of the top of the engines, you'll see what we mean as they slowly open. He has tire speed up there. The front end is dancing a little bit. It looks like it's a straight run. He's doing just what he liked. He had to backpedal once and is in close to 200 feet. Wow, it just totally gave up.
Doc Riley is on pit road for us.
You know, this class seemed to be one of those things where guys are having a tough time with the track. Seemed like you came off the line just about perfect and it bit just about right.
Yeah, the last bit before we ran there, we moved 60 pounds forward, and I think it was a good thing we did, just a little insurance, and laid down a nice pass.
Congratulations.
Thanks a lot. We'd like to thank all the sponsors here for PPL, too.
Doc Riley, thank you very much. A big surprise here. You know, we were both disappointed with Bob Jostock's run, 263. We never thought it would hold up. As it turns out, it puts him up to 4th in the points with the win here today behind Bill Leishner on Dirt Slinger. We'll come back with the Unlimited Super Stocks in just a moment.
Needed that 6 inches. It all comes down when he gets to the pull-off. If anybody else gets across, he makes it. Who cares it was only 6 inches?
Sid Broughton out of Silver Springs, New York, is up next on Desperado. So if anybody's going to match 305 feet, that will put us into a pull-off situation. That's the only way that you're going to take a championship title home.
And Sid in the red tractor, the Desperado from New York, one of the Empire State pullers, one of the toughest pullers around, chases nationally here in Macon, Missouri. Look at that front end way up in the air, dancing and bouncing. It looks like a good pull, but all of a sudden the sled starts to get heavy and we see something go wrong.
Toward the end of that run, once again, he had to apply the brakes. The tractor started moving over to driver's right, and that resulted in a little bit too much brake, and 277 feet is where he'll pull up. That takes us to Brent Long out of Missouri.
The Long machine, you can see the evil-looking design on the side of his red tractor. Now the RPM comes up. That is the spooling of the turbo, that little bit of a stumble and stutter. Now it's up. The RPM, the front end, everything. Not a lot of weight on the front. They have some in front of the rear tires, but again, not close to 300 feet at all.
292.32 for Brent Long, and here's a guy that you would expect a lot of getting ready to come up and hook next. That's Jordan Lustig. He is a former champion here.
The Silver Bullet, one of the best looking tractors anywhere. I think he's a 4 or 5-time national champion. He is used to winning. He has the experience. The team can tune it. They had an off year a year ago when they had problems with oiling and everything else, but he's come back very strong. This machine will look good. It will keep the front end down. It will go straight and should be well over 300 feet.
And look at the sled bob over to driver's right. He'll still make it, though, 306 feet and change for Jordan Lustig, and that is experience right there because this track is changing right now. We're seeing nightfall. We're seeing some moisture come into this track. And tell me how the tackiness changes and what the driver has to do.
Oh, hey, we'll talk about Tim Howe coming down in Ryan's Toy, one of the 3 team tractors that are really tough. We'll talk about each of the teammates. But as the moisture comes around, it allows the tractors to dig in. They don't float and throw up the mud. Tim Howe, 321 feet, shows you how good that team can work.
Boy, that is just amazing. That easily tops both Jordan Lustig and Dale Howe that we saw earlier. So that will put him in what is now a 3-way pull-off, and that takes us to John Evans.
John Evans is the second tractor of the Howell and Evans team, with Roberts coming in later on. We saw 321 feet. Look at the front of the tractor. We have a lot of weight out there. We didn't have it on some of the earlier machines. They've made some adjustments after watching the track. He's bouncing. I don't know if he can pull as far as some of the others did, but heck, it looks good with all the bouncing anyway.
Looked very, very good. And he makes it 321.31 feet. So that will put him in second place so far as the standings are concerned. And he will also go into the pull-off. Now we have 4 guys in.
Wayne Schroeder now, the Cornhusker Deer from Jensen, Nebraska. That's why you'd call it the Cornhusker, being from Nebraska. It is green. Schroeder is going to spool up the turbos. Turbos charged, alcohol burning, basically a diesel block. But look at it bounce. I don't think it's ever going to hook up, and something broke somewhere in the driveline, I believe.
Well, if you brake soon enough, you get an opportunity to come back out here, but whatever broke on Dwayne's machine, I think it's going to be bad enough to take him out of the competition for tonight. Now, si vous parlez français, you will understand how to pronounce Patrice Baudry's name. He is from Quebec, Canada. They speak French and English up there, but your French will only get you so far in Missouri, Rick.
There we go. Driving the Crazy Canuck. All he'd like to do is talk French for about 305-plus feet. I don't know if he's going to do it. A lot of tire speed at the beginning, way up in the air, going to the right. And when he came down, it unloaded the rear end. And again, something breaking in the Boudreau machine.
Yeah, no doubt there. Something definitely went wrong with that machine. The big toy is coming up next when we come back to the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League. Back to the Macon County Fairgrounds is the Show Me Showdown with the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League. Let's check in with Doc Riley down in the pits.
In the world of truck and tractor pulling, it's been kind of an independent thing that most guys have done. Most guys have gone on their own, but the Roberts team has definitely done something that other motorsports have done. And Larry, you guys have kind of done multiple tractors, multiple drivers. Does it work for you?
Yeah, it works out pretty good for us. You know, the guy that goes before you usually figure out where his weight's set, and there's a common ground that we usually where we keep our weights, but we move them back, move them forward. Makes it a lot better. Johnny does a lot of the maintenance work, and Tim does a lot of the driving, and I basically do the driving with the tractor. We kind of all work as a big team together. I think it's a big plus having multiple tractors out there.
You know, it's something the two-wheel drive guys have done, but that's been kind of a family-type situation, you know, one or the first or second generation driver. What do you look for when you're looking for a driver to pilot one of your toys?
We basically, Tim works on the farm. We farm 4,000 acres on the side, so Tim works on the farm. Johnny works in the maintenance garage at R&L Cares at the trucking company that we own, and it kind of worked out that way. We had a mechanic, a driver, and Tim likes the tractors on the farm and stuff, so it kind of worked out that we had three good guys to campaign the tractors.
All tractors set up the same?
Yeah, they're basically set up the same. The Ryan's toy and the big toy has got a little different tractor engine than what the big toy 2 has, but they're basically about the same.
What kind of engine you guys run? Kind of tell us a little bit about the class and what's underneath the side shields.
They're 588 cubic inch. Brent Long builds the engines for the tractors. They run on alcohol. They're 3 turbochargers, and we do the best we can with them.
Rick, I wonder, as we watch Larry Roberts get ready to hook right now, if we're not seeing some seriously changing track conditions. You spoke about the moisture a few minutes ago, but consider this. Only one of our first 3 competitors made full pulls. Since then, every competitor who didn't break has made it in.
That's it. And the first 2 team members were 321 feet. It looks like Larry Roberts is going to drive it out the back door at 325. I don't know if the track is changing or if the teammates, all the team orders are working and they're going along there. Let's look at the Torco Fuels replay and see what happens with Roberts. It looks up. Tire speed is there. The front end up. It looks perfect so far.
Well, it was picture-perfect run so far. We thought 321 feet was outstanding. Look at him saw at the wheel right there. Maybe just a touch on the left rear brake to center up that tractor, and he goes now 325 feet.
Still spinning the tires, bouncing, a little backfire, and he is set. Well, the teammates have the top 3 spots. They've done well, and we know that it's only 305 feet. Now everybody else is going to have to come out and see what they can do.
Dale Haug ran first in this class, and now they're going to try to keep it in the family. Brian Haug will come out as well.
Brian driving Little Temptation, and earlier it was the 305.50, that's 6 inches, and now Brian Haug says, I'd like to do a little bit better than that in Little Temptation. Weights out front, but you can see more up front just behind the front tires. An unusual position. I don't think we've seen that on many other tractors. It's
working very well for him. You see him just tap the brake with his right foot. You just caught a glimpse of that to center up the tractor, and he does it very, very well. 309.29 feet. Now, assuming that both he and Dale Haug run similar setups, that would mean the track is definitely changing and drastically improving.
Red paint, the color of money, and I think this is one of the best-looking tractors that we see on tour. He gets into the throttle very, very carefully, and now all the way with the front end up in the air. It stays up there. It's floating. Look at the front tires. Don't touch till over 250 feet. And look at that pull. The number's 313. He's in the pull-off.
His pull-off's going to get tougher and tougher to win as we go, as the flames shoot out with that excess methanol down inside the engine, igniting toward the end of that run. It's amazing how quickly methanol ignites and doesn't vaporize. It just instantly ignites compared to gasoline.
That's it, and you don't always see that flame. Joe Kwiatkowski taking care of business. The former champ is out here. He'd like to show him how it's done. He needs to run 305 feet easily. Within his skills and the power of that tractor, can he do it? Of course. 315 for Kwiatkowski. He's in the pull-off. I'm starting to wonder, Stephen. I think those 3 teammates, everybody's doing well, but they're out there well over 320 feet. Nobody else has touched that mark.
Nobody even close. We saw a couple of 306s, a couple of 309s, now a 313, but nobody else really just breaking out. But it's Aaron Hull's opportunity.
Upon Wisconsin base, Minneapolis Mo lead. It's the yellow tractor, front end bouncing, trying for that 305 feet, awfully close. Oh, look at that. He misses by, like, just that far, 2/100ths of a foot. I mean, that's like a half an inch is all.
My math is not good enough to figure it out, but it's not much. That's for sure. That has got to be just a huge, huge disappointment. Jeff Hurt is up next on Running Bear.
Now getting all strapped in, he is ready. Red, white, and blue patriotic, Running Bear, spooling the turbos. Listen to him whine. The tires are starting to spin, and now it's sputtering and popping. Is he going to be under the 100 feet and get a rerun, or is it too far? 150 feet? No. If you're less than 100, you can get a rerun. He's over it, so he's gone.
A big disappointment for Jeff because that was a brand new tractor that they stuck together in about 16 weeks. They're obviously still working the bugs out. Now let's move on to David Anderson out of Greentop, Missouri.
The Anderson Farms machine, the International, backed up, being hooked up. Hooker working on him, getting the sled. He is ready to go. With that hand throttle, you can see him working it. There it goes, all the way forward. A lot of smoke, and now, well, the front end's up. It's going to the right. Well, it was out of bounds. He hit that, turned to the left, and not a boring second of that short one.
You know, I can't say that's a real surprise either because you usually try to squeeze the throttle. It was going to be a good run. It was going to be a great one, but if it didn't go anywhere, it was going to be a disaster.
There was no question. It was all or nothing. David Marino, the Show Me Showdown from right here in Macon. A local tractor, and you can hear the idle, a little rough idle. Going to start spooling up the turbos. There's that throttle in his right hand. That is, well, the gas pedal, but it's in his hand, so it's the throttle handle.
And once again, we saw him just jam it forward, so maybe it's not such a bad tactic after all. We'll see if he can come up with 305 feet. That's what it takes for a full pull, and he is the last guy with an opportunity into the pull-off, and I don't think he's going to make it.
Well, 208 feet, it just never got the RPM to come out. I don't know if it's driveline or engine, but it didn't work.
8 tractors in the pull-off when we return to the Macon County Fairgrounds. Of the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League is brought to you by Lucas Oil, the world leader in heavy-duty and high-performance lubricants, and by Dixie Chopper, the world's fastest lawnmower. Rick, we've seen some fantastic pulls, 321, 325 feet. Now we need 305 for a full pull, and from here on, it gets a lot tougher.
Right now, they just pull as far as they can. We're going to forget about 3-0s and just see who can pull the farthest. And I don't know how far in they can go, but we'll start off. And Dale Haug, a big temptation, 295. And look, we've got a fire, and that really has to be some oil because the methanol you're not going to see.
Now, the methanol, sometimes you won't see it, but in many cases, they put coloring inside the methanol now so that you can see the flame and make it more visible. So it depends on what type of methanol he's using. In this case, he was mighty glad that they could see it when they did. He can see it, too. Remember, that's a driver's concern as well. You look in front of you, and you see all those flames coming up. That's better than sitting there in your fire suit and thinking, gee, it's warm in here. I wonder what the problem is.
Something exploded, and Dale is, well, he's unstrapping and getting out of there.
Well, a spectacular end to Dale Haug's evening, and that will bring us up to Jordan Lustig on the Silver Bullet, and this guy is going to be one tough customer to beat. He's been in these kind of pressure situations so many times.
He has the experience. He has the knowledge. And I also think he normally has the absolute best-looking tractor you'll see anywhere. Silver Bullet, he's got all the weights on the side, almost nothing up front. There's some behind the rear tire, but nothing up front in that weight box. Front end bouncing, but it looks pretty darn good. Over 300 feet, yes, 314.23. Jordan Lustig, your leader.
And I'd like to take another look at this because 2/3 of the pulling sport is staying straight. That's what's so critical. And remember, they're accustomed to the track. Jordan knows exactly what the track is going to be like. He's got his tractor set up, but he doesn't know how much extra weight he's going to have to pull and what that's going to feel like.
But he guessed well, if that's what he did. That's where experience came in. Now it's going to be Tim Howe, Ryan's Toy, one of the team tractors that came in over 320 feet. We'll see how the team information works as they've been watching. He's the first of the 3-man team.
He eases onto the throttle very slowly. Now he starts to find a little bit of bite. He's still not full throttle yet, and there it goes.
Watching that right hand, we saw pullers earlier all in, but not him. Tim just takes it easy. Where does he go? 299, surprise. Not at the top of the pack like he was earlier.
That's a good pull, though. That is a very good pull, but you have so much additional weight sliding forward on that iron sled so much sooner that it makes it very, very difficult. So Jordan Lustig maintains the lead. 314.23 is what you got to beat.
John Evans, big toy two. The second of the teammates. He's over on the boundary marker. I don't know if he's going to stay inside. 285 feet, not a long pull, and he stayed in bounds, though.
Well, see, that's another big problem for John. I mean, he's 36 feet off of his original pull at 321. He just turned in a 285, and that brings us to Larry Roberts.
He has the weights much different than the others did. He stayed in the center of the track, did not go to either side. Larry Roberts, it looks like a great pull, 318.32, your new leader.
And that will knock Jordan Lustig off the point. The silver bullet, 3 to beat. And Larry Roberts got the job done. Now it's Brian Haug's chance.
This is Little Temptation. He does not want the same fate as Big Temptation earlier with all the fire. He is staying in the center of the track, but the weight box is all the way up there and going to pull him down. Brian Haug not able to even reach 300 feet.
Rick, that's what did it, too. He had a good straight run.
That's it, but the weight box got there. He took too long getting down the track. Brett Payne, the color of money, and I just like the looks of this machine. He is into it, and it looks okay, but now the front end staying down. The weight box again right up to the top and stopping him at 271 feet. There's just one guy left who can win it.
Joe Kwiatkowski is going to have the opportunity. Again, 318.32 feet is what he's going to have to do if he's going to take care of business.
And he will try. The tire's spinning, and that does not bode well for Kwiatkowski.
And a lot of wheel hop at the end of this run. He'll pull up short at 269 feet. Doc Riley, you've got the winner.
One of those situations where I think there's an awful lot of people that come together here in the Lucas Oil Professional Pulling League to really make this an outstanding place to compete.
Oh, yeah, it's a good pull. We've been here the last 3 years, and you couldn't ask for anything better. Good group of people, good group of announcers, and the fans are great. I got a good crew here that takes care of everything for me, and couldn't ask for much more.
Well, he could ask for a little more. He's got the points lead now. 318.32 feet for Larry Roberts. That is good enough to put him 2 points up on Tim Howell, because this is a very, very